You guys know that I meal prep a lot. I've shared a few meal prepping videos with you before. In this video, I'm going to show you how I've used meal prep to save time and to lose weight without counting calories. I'll tell you why I like to meal prep. For starters, I'm really busy. I don't actually have a lot of time to cook meals from scratch most days, most weeks. It helped me to lose weight. I don't need to tell you again. I previously lost 40 pounds a few years ago, and last year I lost 10 pounds. I'll tell you why it helped me to lose weight and get healthier, because when I meal prep, my meals are ready. They're ready to go. They're already prepared. I don't have to try to make healthy food decisions over and over again. And then, when I get lazy and I'm tired after a long day, it's easy to make an unhealthy option. Grab the unhealthy option. You know what it's like. So today we're going to do another full week of weight loss meal prep, and we're going to be making enough meals for 5 days. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're going to be making breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. I try to get my meal prepping done in as little time as possible. I've said this to you guys before. I try to get it done in an hour or just over an hour. If I do that on a Sunday or a Monday, I've got all my meals for the week, and it just saves me so much time during the week to get it done in roughly an hour. I always start with the ingredient that takes the longest to cook, and then we work our way down in that order of things that take the longest to cook to things that are the quickest to cook. And then right at the end of this video, you'll see all the meals come together really quickly once all of the ingredients are prepped. I'll show you how to do it. It's so easy. So this week of weight loss meal prep is actually from my ebook, Weight Loss Meal Prep for Women. It was out in January. I do actually have a free grocery shopping list download that goes with this video. It's for free. You guys can go download it on my blog. I'll link that below in the description box for you. If you want to follow along with this video, all the ingredients that you'll need will be on that grocery list, and you can just go get them and then you can meal prep with me. You don't need the ebook to follow through with what I'm going to show you in this video, but this is just one of the weeks in that book, just a few of the recipes in there. There are 4 full weeks of meal prep and healthy recipes in my ebook. This is just one of the weeks. And actually be used as a recipe book or as a full week of weight loss meal prep, so you can use it as either or. In my ebook, there are also substitutions and alternatives for lots of ingredients that are used. There are also gluten, dairy-free, and nut-free alternatives in the book, as well as plant-based and vegan options. Although in this video, I will show you vegan options for anything that's not vegan, gluten-free and dairy-free. We'll be making 2 breakfast options, 2 lunch options, 2 snack options, and 2 dinner options. I'm trying to show you guys a lot of variety. If you want to reduce cooking time and prepping time even more, you can just double up the ingredients of a certain recipe and just make 1 option for each meal time instead of 2. This meal plan that I'm going to show you today is based on roughly 1,400 calories per day. I will show you at the end of this video how you can easily adjust the calories to get 1,200 calories, 1,600 calories, or even 1,800 calories per day. You can easily adjust it to get the calories that you need to lose weight. Before I forget, don't forget to preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or about 200 degrees Celsius, and we can get started. I'm slicing up some red bell pepper, roughly 300 grams to be exact. I'm going to share exact amounts with you. If you want to follow along with that, you can, for calories' sake or for just to get the recipes exact. I'm adding those slices to a baking tray with baking paper, and then I've rinsed about 3 cups of cherry tomatoes and I'm adding them to the tray too. I'm just adding a quick spray of cooking oil with oregano, salt, pepper. You can place that in the oven for about 20 to 30 minutes and then take it out when it's ready. The next step is really simple. Again, we're going to cook some grains, some quinoa and some pasta. You're going to see me make a lot of quinoa and pasta, but that's because I'm prepping some extra for Rob to add to meals. The exact amount you'll need would be about 1 cup of dry quinoa. You can add that to a small pot with about 3 cups of hot water. Just bring that to a boil on the stove, and then you can reduce the heat, cover it with a lid, let it simmer for about 15 minutes or until it's fully cooked. You can add some more water along the way if you need to. Then for the pasta, what I do is bring a large to medium pot of water to a boil on the stove before adding the dry pasta into the boiling water. I use brown rice pasta or quinoa pasta. You can use any kind. You will need about 85 grams of dry pasta to make about 1.5 cups of cooked pasta. Now we're going to boil some eggs. If you want a vegan option, do not worry. I'll tell you how to use pinto beans instead. I'll show you a bit later. If you do want to use eggs though, like I'm doing, you can add a pot of hot water to the stove with 6 eggs in it. Just bring the water to a boil on the stove and let it cook for about 8 to 10 minutes until they're hard boiled. Once they're cooked, you can remove the pot from the stove and pour the hot water out. What I like to do is rinse the eggs under cold water, crack them open a bit, and let them sit in the cold water for a few minutes. This makes it much easier to peel them, and then after a few minutes, you can peel the eggs and then set them aside to cool down. Super easy, and yeah, we've done a lot already. Now we're going to make our first proper meal. We're going to really get into it. We're going to put together this quick chicken and vegetable stir fry. I will give you a vegan option in a minute. I'm using 1.5 onions. We'll use the other half later for something else. I'm just chopping those into strips and adding it to a frying pan with a quick spray of cooking oil. Toss that on the stove over a medium to high heat until the onions start to brown. You can add a small amount of water to the pan if it gets too dry to prevent the onion from burning, but this is a must because cooking the onion first and just allowing it to brown just a little bit will add a lot of flavor to the meal. And then what I'm doing is cutting up some chicken breast meat, about 270 grams to be exact, into small pieces and adding that to the pan along with the onion. If you'd prefer a vegan alternative, you can use 1 cup of cooked chickpeas instead of the chicken, and you can just toss that into the stir fry. I like to add some onion powder, some oregano, some salt, pepper, and then lime or lemon juice for flavor. And then I'm using about 300 grams of red bell pepper and about 450 grams of zucchini, which we call baby marrow in South Africa. These measurements aren't totally exact. I'm just giving you rough estimations, a rough indication of what I've used. It doesn't have to be completely exact. I'm slicing up the bell pepper and the zucchini, adding them to the pan once the chicken has started to cook. And then you can just cover the pan with a lid, tossing it occasionally every few minutes over a medium heat. Once it's cooked, you can remove it from the stove, remove it from the heat, just leave it to cool. Just make sure the chicken is fully cooked before removing it from the heat. This one that we're going to put together now is actually my favorite meal from the week. I really like it. I like all of them, but this is my absolute favorite. It's so good. So I used that 1.5 onions for the first recipe. Now we're going to use the leftover half now. So just half an onion. Chop it into small pieces. I'm cooking it in a frying pan with a small amount of cooking oil spray over a medium to high heat until it's slightly browned again. Same procedure as before. Then I'm rinsing and slicing some mushrooms and shredding some Brussels sprouts into pieces. Use about 300 grams of mushrooms and about 100 grams of Brussels sprouts, and then add them to the pan with the onion. I like to cook the vegetables with pepper and lime and lemon juice over a medium heat. Just keep tossing it, cover it with a lid. I'm not going to add salt to this one though. You'll see why. What I like to do is drain and rinse the fully cooked lentils. I'm using canned lentils, and then add them to the pan once the vegetables are almost fully cooked. I'm using about 1 cup of those lentils. Okay. The most important ingredient, it's an essential ingredient to this recipe, the marinara pasta sauce. This is going to make the entire meal. Don't skip it. I like to use the Rayo's homemade marinara sauce. You can use any tomato-based or any marinara pasta sauce that you prefer. I recommend using one that's between 80 to 100 calories per half a cup serving. So I'm using about 1 cup of the pasta sauce in total. So just toss that occasionally on the stove until it's fully cooked. Now we're on to something fun. We're going to bake some healthy snack cookies. This is one of the quickest cookie recipes that you'll ever make. They're not traditional cookies, so don't expect that. They're healthy snack cookies that I like to make. Okay, so this is important. You want to reduce the heat of your oven right now. Don't forget to do it to about 360 degrees Fahrenheit or about 180 degrees Celsius. I'm adding 2 ripe bananas to a mixing bowl and smashing them up with the back of a fork, just roughly. The riper the bananas are, the sweeter the cookies will be. So you kind of want to use a banana that's got like the little brown spots on it. And then you can add 2/3 of a cup of dry rolled oats and also some cinnamon to a bowl. I use about 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Mix that together a bit. Then I've got about 14 raw almonds here, just being very specific for you, but roughly that. You can chop them up a bit and add them in, and then I'm adding a 1/4 cup of raisins before mixing it again. So I've got a baking tray here lined with baking paper. I like to grease it with a small amount of coconut oil, just a small amount, and then I measure out about a heaped tablespoon size of batter at a time, adding the batter to the baking tray just to make rough cookie shapes. You want to make enough cookies to have 3 equal servings. This recipe should make between 15 to 18 cookies, or about 5 to 6 per serving. I was clearly confused when I filmed this because I didn't do that. As you can see, I did not. I made 1 extra random cookie, but it's okay. it'll all be okay. It's not a big deal. So if you do that, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. So once all of your batter has been used up, you can bake the cookies for about 20 minutes. And then we're on to the next thing. We are going to make an incredible recipe. These are toaster pancakes. I always start by blending up some whole rolled oats in a blender to make a flour. It takes less than a minute. Or you can use the same amount of oat flour that you already have. I use about 2/3 of a cup of dry oats. Next, I'm peeling 2 medium wrap bananas and adding them to a bowl. Again, you want to use the ones that have like the little brown spots in them because they're going to be sweeter and it's going to make the pancakes taste better. I'm adding them to a bowl and smashing them with a fork, just roughly. You can also just throw everything into a blender. It's much quicker, but you can also do it in a bowl, which is what I'm showing you now, just in case you don't have a blender. Then I'm adding 4 large eggs, mixing them in. If you do want a plant-based substitute for the eggs, you can make chia eggs. They're really easy to make. You can make them in a separate bowl using chia seeds and water and just leave them to soak until the chia seeds have a gel-like consistency before adding them into the blender or the bowl with the other ingredients. Use 4 tablespoons of chia seeds and 12 tablespoons of water to make the amount of 4 chia eggs. Don't forget to let it soak for 5 minutes before you add it in. And then add that oat flour and some cinnamon. And once all of the ingredients have been added, just blend them together, or you can mix it together in the bowl to make the batter. So now the batter is ready. We're going to heat a pan on the stove and just start it at about a medium-high heat and then just adjust the heat as you need to. What I recommend doing is using a non-stick frying pan, as it really does make better pancakes. You will get much better pancakes. You can do a quick spray of cooking oil if you need to. I add heaped tablespoon amounts of batter to the pan to make small, medium pancakes. I usually make 3 or 4 small pancakes at a time in the pan. When the pancakes start to bubble on top, then they should be ready to flip. And when all of the pancakes are ready, when they're cooked on both sides, you can just add them to a plate to cool them down. Just keep doing that, repeat the process until all of the batter's been used up, and you'll have a whole big plate of pre-prepped pancakes. What I like to do is to start prepping the next few food items while I continue to flip the pancakes, because that's just really easy to do. I can just keep an eye on the pancakes and I can get started with some other easy things. You don't want to take on a big task while you do this, but we're just going to do some quick things. So we're going to make some smoothie prep, we're going to make some overnight oats, and we're going to make this sandwich filling prep while we finish the pancakes. We're actually really close to being done. The rest is going to go very quickly, so don't give up just yet. I'm opening some black beans and I'm draining and rinsing them. You can use black beans that you've cooked yourself, or you can use canned ones. You'll need about 1 cup of cooked black beans. That's about 172 grams roughly. This is really easy. It may seem weird, but it's really good. So I just spread out the black beans to cover a bowl and smash them with the back of a fork. It doesn't have to be perfect, just rough. And I've got 2 tablespoons of pre-measured out tahini here. Some fresh lime or lemon juice. It adds really great flavor, so I do quite a lot of it. I'm using about 1 small lime and some salt and pepper. Mix that all together. I also added some onion powder and some oregano for extra flavor. That's it, very easy. I'm dividing that between 2 containers, which I'll store it in. This is the best thing to have pre-prepped in the fridge to make quick sandwiches with. So we'll come back to that in a minute or so. We're going to prep some other quick things, just leave that aside. Don't forget to finish flipping your pancakes if you're still doing that. Overnight oats it's literally the easiest meal prep breakfast recipe ever. You'll need 2 jars or containers to make and store them in, and I'm measuring out about half a cup of rolled oats to each one. Then I'm measuring out about 20 raw almonds, 2 teaspoons of chia seeds, half a tablespoon of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of maple syrup, and a pinch of cinnamon to each jar. Add about half a cup of water to each jar and mix all of the ingredients together with the water. And then I just use frozen blueberries because they're cheaper and they taste just as good in this. I add half a cup of frozen blueberries to each jar, mix it again. It is easier if you add the water and then the blueberries, not like how I did it in this video. It's easier to mix if you add the water first. And just cover them and place them in the fridge overnight, and that's done. Now we're making the final thing before we finally put everything together. You will see that's when it gets super easy. This is my favorite snack smoothie. All you need is 3 ingredients: frozen mango pieces, milk, I use unsweetened almond milk. You can use any milk. And protein powder, I use a dairy-free plant-based protein powder. I'm starting with 2 reusable Ziploc bags and measuring about 1 cup of frozen mango pieces to each one. Then I'm adding half a scoop of protein powder to each serving, so just 1 scoop in total. You can use any protein powder that you like, but I recommend using one that's slightly sweetened and flavored with vanilla. If you do want a calorie reference, the protein powder that I use is about 110 calories per 31 gram scoop of protein powder. And then I'm measuring out about 1 cup of the almond milk to each container to make 2 servings. You can use any milk of your choice, as I said, dairy or non-dairy. Just for a calorie reference, again, if you do want one, I use an unsweetened almond milk, which is roughly 30 to 40 calories per cup. You can just measure out the milk on the day if you like, but if you want everything pre-prepped, then you can do this. And don't forget to add the Ziploc bags to the freezer and the milk to the fridge. If you're going to use reusable Ziploc bags like I'm doing to hold some of the ingredients, I recommend actually reusing them to avoid plastic waste, or you can just use reusable containers. I got this bamboo plastic drying rack on Amazon. It's really easy to wash a bag out, hang it up, reuse it, let it dry. Round about now is when I usually start to get pretty tired and restless and wanting it to be over, but we're so close now. All that we have to do is put the meals together. So this is actually really the easy part, and it's like the most satisfying part because you just see everything come together and it feels like really rewarding. And then we'll have our meals for the whole week. You just got to keep thinking about that. You'll have your meals for the whole week ready and you don't have to think about cooking again. So let's finish putting together all of the pancake breakfasts. The pancakes have cooled down by now. We can store them. I'm dividing the pancakes between 3 containers. There's actually quite a few per serving depending on how big or small you make the pancakes, obviously. Just use them up until they're all finished. And then these will be the toppings for the pancakes. I'm measuring out about 1 tablespoon of peanut butter to each of these 3 small containers. And I've got roughly 2 cups of fresh strawberries here, which I'm making into 3 servings. I'll only rinse the strawberries on the morning that I eat them so they don't go soggy and bad and moldy and stuff in the fridge. So for each morning that we're having toasted pancakes, which is 3 mornings, we'll have the pancakes, the peanut butter, and the strawberries. You can seal the Ziploc bags, cover the containers. Definitely store the pancakes and the strawberries in the fridge so that they stay fresh. And we're on to the next thing. The overnight oats they're ready for 2 breakfasts, 2 mornings this week. So yeah, if you haven't put them in the fridge already, just cover them with a lid. Do that now, get them in the fridge, and that's good to go. The black bean and tahini sandwich, you might be wondering how this is coming together. We're going to finish prepping those right now. You can use any bread that is roughly 100 calories per slice, just roughly that amount. These are the 2 brands that I sometimes use, this genuine Bavarian sunflower seed rye bread or this gluten-free ancient grains one from 3 Bakers. You can use any bread that you prefer though. If you want to use a gluten-free one, then do that. Now, we're making enough for 2 lunches, so we're putting together 2 servings of 2 slices of bread each. Then I'm putting some cherry tomatoes and some leafy greens into small Ziploc bags. I've just used 2 cherry tomatoes for each serving, and I know this seems ridiculous. You'll see why when I show you how to put the meal together. I only use a very small amount of leafy greens. You can use mixed greens, arugula, rocket, spinach, whatever you want. I'm just using mixed greens. So for each day that we'll be having the black bean and tahini sandwiches, you'll have the black bean and tahini spread, you'll have the bread and the salad ingredients. Just make sure everything's covered, sealed with airtight containers, store it in the fridge. I keep the bread in the fridge, that's just my personal preference. And we're finishing up lunch too. Do you guys see how quickly this is going now at the end? It's the best. The ball is rolling. So to start, we're using the rest of the mixed greens. I'm dividing that between 3 Ziploc bags, so you want a nice amount because we're making a salad. Then we've got the boiled eggs, which we already peeled and we've left them to cool down, so they're cool now. We can I like to leave them whole so that they stay fresher for longer. And I'm putting 2 eggs into each of the 3 containers to store them. As a plant-based or vegan alternative to the eggs, you can use pinto beans in the salad. Just drain and rinse the beans straight from the can. You can store them in an airtight container with a squeeze of lemon or lime juice to keep them fresh. And when you're ready to eat the salad, just toss the pinto beans in with the other ingredients. You can substitute 6 large eggs for about 2 cups of cooked and drained pinto beans, so divide that between 3. This is a topping for the salad. I'm using 3 tablespoons of sunflower seeds. I'm adding a tablespoon to each of these 3 containers, and you can also use pumpkin seeds if you don't have or don't like sunflower seeds. Now I'm going to show you how to make this very quick, easy salad dressing. And this is one of the last things we're making, so it all goes really fast from here. I've got 3 small containers. I'm squeezing the juice from 2 limes here between the 3 containers, and then I'm actually using some rice vinegar. You can use however much you like, or any vinegar that you like to use on salads. Use somewhere between 1 teaspoon and 1 tablespoon per container. I actually like to use 1 tablespoon per serving. And then some salt and pepper. Mix it up and cover each dressing with a lid. And then the roasted vegetables and the quinoa, they're both ready. I've got another 3 containers here, and I'm serving half a cup of cooked quinoa to each one. I'm still going to use some of the quinoa for one of the dinners, and I've made a lot of extra quinoa for Rob. He'll eat that. And then just serve all of the vegetables out between 3 containers. Just get them into the same container as the quinoa if you want to. They look amazing. I love roasted vegetables. So for each one of these lunch salads, you'll have a serving of the quinoa and the vegetables. You'll have 2 boiled eggs, the leafy greens, the salad dressing, and the sunflower seeds as a topping. So that's everything in total for 3 lunches. Cover all of the containers with lids, seal the airtight bags, store everything in the fridge for mealtime. From here, it's really easier than you could ever imagine. Everything's actually already finished. So snack 1 is already finished. So less work for you, less work for me right now. At each snack time, where you're going to have this protein smoothie, you'll have 1 of the mango and protein powder packets and 1 serving of the milk. So in total, you'll have 2 of each of those. Store the mango and protein powder packets in the freezer and keep the milk in the fridge. I bet you're wondering what happened to these cookies. I was actually starting to wonder. It's been a while since we saw them, but after 20 minutes in the oven, I took them out, let them cool down on the side. Rob helped himself to one, as you can see. You don't often see him in my videos, but you sometimes get to see what he eats. As I said earlier, you want to make enough cookies to have 3 equal servings. It's not a train smash if it's not, whatever. Anyway, Rob wanted one. He was hovering around when I was bringing the cookies out, and so he got to have one, and we've got 3 equal servings now. So serve the cookies between 3 containers or whatever you're going to store them in, and that's a yummy, healthy snack that I will be looking forward to. Dinner. We're on dinner. We're basically done now. So hang in there. We're so close. We're literally done with everything. We're just serving out the last 2 meals. The stir fry is done, so I'm serving it out between 3 containers to make 3 portions. And if you watch a lot of my videos, you knew a big mess was coming at some point. So we got that out of the way now. I'm serving half a cup of the cooked quinoa to each one of these 3 containers, and then I'll have some olives. I like olives. I'm using Kalamata olives. You can use roughly 10 olives per serving. That's about 30 in total. You can keep those in small containers or just serve them out on the day, up to you. But that's it. For each of these 3 dinners, you'll have the chicken and vegetable stir fry, you'll have the quinoa, and you'll have the olives. Cover all of those things up and get everything into the fridge. And dinner too, my favorite one, best for last, the brown rice pasta with marinara sauce that's got lentils and mushrooms and Brussels sprouts in it. This is my favorite thing. So we're just serving this out. The marinara sauce with the lentils, the mushrooms, the Brussels sprouts. Serve it out between 2 containers to make 2 portions, and then the pasta is ready. You can serve about 3/4 of a cup into each of these 2 containers. I've made lots of it to have left over for Rob, and that is it. We are done. We are finally done. Just cover all of the containers with airtight lids. Remember to put everything away in the fridge or the freezer. We're done! Whew. We are done. It feels really good. I just need to put everything away in the fridge and clean up the kitchen, which is now a mess. I'm really glad that I stuck to it and I finished it. I'm always so glad. And then, it just feels great. This is Snowy, my polar bear. He lives on the couch. Let's get to the next part. I am going to show you how to put everything together on the day that you eat it. The reason I call these pancakes toaster pancakes is because I heat them up in the toaster when I meal prep them. This is life-changing if you're a pancake lover. So I take one of the pancake servings out of the fridge and place 1 or 2 pancakes into each slot of the toaster at a time. Just watch them so they don't burn. They heat up quite quickly actually in the toaster. And then on the morning that I eat them, I rinse and slice up the serving of the strawberries and add them as a topping on top of the pancakes, drizzle the peanut butter on top of that, and that is how you can have healthy pancakes for breakfast every single morning in 2 minutes. When you want to eat the overnight oats, just take one of them out of the fridge and you can eat it straight out of the jar with a spoon if you like. You can take the jar or the container to work or school with you, or you can serve it in a bowl like I'm doing. You can heat it up really quickly in a saucepan on the stove if you like to eat it warm. I just eat it cold. I actually like it like that. I topped this one with a few fresh blueberries. As you can see, this is a really low calorie fruit and it won't add too many calories if you're concerned about that, but I would generally just eat them as they are. This lunch sandwich is really easy to put together. It takes 2 minutes. You can do it in the morning before school or work, or you can just make it at lunchtime if you're working or studying from home. So I get the bread on a plate, as you can see. I actually like to toast it lightly before I eat it. And then I add the black bean and tahini spread on top. You can make an open or a closed sandwich, whatever you like. And then I'm adding some of those leafy greens on top. And now for those 2 cherry tomatoes. I'm slicing them up and adding them on top. It's just a sandwich topping or a sandwich filling, which is why we only needed 2 cherry tomatoes per sandwich. And it's good to go. I love this recipe. I've made it so many times. It's filling, it's nutritious, it's great. For this lunch, we've got quite a few containers and things here, but it's also really easy to put together on the day. Just grab a plate or a bowl if you'll be putting this together at lunchtime at home, or you can grab a bigger container to throw everything into if you want to take this to school or work for later. I'm adding the roasted vegetables and the quinoa to a plate with the leafy greens. I'm slicing up the boiled eggs and adding them on top, and then sprinkle the sunflower seeds on top. And lastly, I'm adding the dressing, drizzling that over, and that's very easy. And you can enjoy a pretty fancy looking lunch that took practically no time to put together that day. To put together this mango protein smoothie, it's again very easy. You can grab your mango and protein powder pack out of the freezer and just add it to a blender with the 1 cup of the milk. I'm using my NutriBullet. You can use any blender and just serve it into a glass. It's a really great pre or post workout snack if you need a little pick me up. It's very refreshing and creamy, and it's one of my favorites. The snack cookies, they really don't require any further effort. As you can see, they're ready to go. You can just grab them, enjoy your snack wherever you are, and you can take these to school or work with you wherever you're going, or you can just enjoy them at home at your desk while you're working or studying and you need a little extra energy, a little snack. For the chicken and vegetable stir fry, you can either heat up the quinoa and the stir fry together in a frying pan on the stove. Sometimes I do that, it's very quick and easy. Or you can heat up everything in the microwave. You can heat up the quinoa and the chicken and vegetable stir fry in the microwave, or even in the oven. Just make sure that your containers are microwave or oven safe. Just don't overcook them or burn them. When you heat them up, then the chicken and everything will get really dry. And you can serve them onto a plate with the olives, and you're ready to eat. It takes 2 minutes. And the final thing, the brown rice pasta with the marinara sauce and the lentils and the vegetables. I heat this dinner up the same way that I do the previous one. You can either heat it up together, the pasta and the saucy vegetables together in a frying pan on the stove. Very quick and easy to do. You can just toss them around there till they're heated, or you can just heat them up in the microwave and serve them on a plate. Just make sure your containers are microwave safe if you're going to do that. Please keep in mind that we're all different. I feel like I'm doing like a little infomercial with the facts at the end. So really though, every woman has different calorie needs to lose weight in a healthy way. If you'd like to follow 1,400 calories for your daily diet, you can go ahead and you can prepare all 3 meals and the snack for each day, as I've done in this video. Actually, I kind of feel like I'm one of those people on the airlines saying like the little safety warnings. For a 1,200 calorie diet, have all 3 meals each day and just leave out the snacks. Okay, I'll stop now. For a 1,600 calorie diet, you can prepare all 3 meals. You can double up all of the snack recipes so that you have 3 meals and 2 snacks per day. And then for a 1,800 calorie diet or even more calories, you can prepare all 3 meals. You can double up on the snacks and even double up on an extra meal. Just keep in mind that all the meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner are all roughly 400 calories, while all of the snacks are roughly 200 calories, so that you can mix and match. You can just do what you like. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you enjoyed this meal prepping time. If you enjoyed the recipes, don't forget to get that free shopping list, grocery shopping list download. I'll link that below for you. It's free. You can go download it on my blog. And don't forget to go check out my new ebook, Weight Loss Meal Prep for Women. I'll link that down below for you too. This what we did today is week 2 from that ebook. There's 4 weeks of meal prepping in that book. It is a bit of effort to do meal prepping, but if you get it done and you don't procrastinate, you just do it, you can get it done in roughly an hour. It might take longer if you're new to meal prepping, just keep that in mind. But once you get good at it, you can do it in like an hour, and then you've got all your meals for the week. It saves so much time. Highly recommend it. You don't have to think about calories. You don't have to think about trying to make healthy food choices. You guys can use the recipes today that I showed you. You can just make some of the recipes, or you can make all of them depending on what you have time for and depending what you feel like doing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to my channel for more videos, and I'll see you guys again very soon.